Good afternoon. It's afternoon for me. That is when I am carving this, but it is Friday afternoon, Friday, September 24th, 2021. And this week, you're getting a little carving video, and I've jumped right in because this one's going to take me a while to carve, and I'm not confident in my ability to talk the whole time, so I want to get this done as quickly as possible as I sit here and carve and talk about what I'm doing and what I'm thinking and what I've been working on and all of those great and lovely things. So, first thing I'm going to talk about is why you are getting a Noosh Extras this week. And the Noosh Extras being me carving out this little lobster. So the reason you're getting Noosh Extras this week is because I had a lot of commission work. I carved out 3 commission pieces this week that have been piling up. And I just needed to get those finished and done. So I did those. I don't know. I'll share them with you eventually. With my commissions, I generally like the first people to be able to see them as the people that commissioned them. So, and they see the sketches that I complete, and then I finish it, and then I mail it to them, and then they see it for the first time in person, which is pretty cool. Hopefully they enjoy the surprise that comes in the mail of the finished piece. I had 1 cat, 1 dog, and 1. I'm not going to say what the other one is because I don't know I don't think it's a gift. I think it's just a commission, a piece that somebody was getting for someone. But I don't want to say what it is in case the person that is going to be receiving it doesn't know that they're going to be receiving it, and I don't want to ruin a surprise. So the last one, I'm not going to share that with you. But cat and dog is pretty, what would you call it? Innocuous? Like, vague. Vague is probably a better word. I don't really even know what innocuous is. Do you guys ever use words that, you've heard people, you know the context, but I couldn't tell you what the definition of innocuous is. But I've used it I think it means like, oh man, I'm going to take a stab in the dark, and it's going to be wrong, and I'm going to put the right definition up on the screen, and I'm going to make myself look like a fool. Are you ready? I'm going to make myself vulnerable for you people. I think innocuous means just like harmless. If I had to get a synonym for it, something just harmless, non-threatening. How'd I do? All right, future self, tell me how I did.
Well, not too bad. Innocuous means not harmful or offensive.
All right, that's probably enough time for me to either pat myself on the back or make fun of me for not knowing what that word is. I'll try not to use words that I don't know what they are anymore. So that is what I've been working on all week. That is what I've been doing. And that's why you're getting this. And so this piece, this piece is kind of a commission, kind of not. There's a person, and his name's Colin. I don't know if he watches my YouTube videos. I know he follows me on Instagram, but I don't know if he watches my YouTube videos. And he bought a piece that was similar in size to the one that I'm currently working on, of an anglerfish and a flower. And he had asked me if I would do a lobster piece for him. So that's what this is. I sketched this out earlier in the week, and he sent me a message yesterday, and I skimmed it. I haven't quite opened it yet, with some ideas for this lobster piece. But what he doesn't know is that I've already drawn it out. So here's the deal. Colin, if you are watching this, I had this sketched out on Monday, I think is when I sketched it out, and you messaged me on Thursday, I believe. And today is Friday. I'm carving this. It was all drawn out. It was a piece of wood that I was already going to be carving today. If you like this piece, it's yours. If you don't, that's fine. And we'll work on something else for your lobster piece. But I really like this drawing, so I was like, oh, I'm just going to go forward with that. I thought it was fun. I like the expression, and I like just the composition of it. And I think it's going to look good. So I'm going to move forward with it. And I think if you don't like it, somebody else will. And it just makes me happy to carve this piece, whether you like it or not. So I'm doing this for me today. And Colin, if you like it, you can have it. How's that sound? So that is why I'm carving this piece particularly. And if you don't know, this is going to be a carved and painted piece, and there's the frame for it. All right, back to carving. Let's see, what else? What else is going on? Oh man, I have a hole in my head. That sounds terrible. I have a void of thought in my head, because the one thing I came on here and I said, well, I'm not going to talk down and mention that, is the only thing that I can think about right now. So I guess I am going to mention it because it's the only thing I can think about. Today is September 24th, and tomorrow is my birthday. And I didn't want to say that. I just don't. I don't like being told happy birthday. And I'm not talking about like people in my family, because I know I have people in my family watching this and they're like, oh wow, he doesn't like being told happy birthday. Now you guys can tell me happy birthday. It's all like the random people on Facebook. You know, like every year your birthday comes around, and then just people on Facebook are like, happy birthday, I haven't talked to you in 38 years. I'm not 38, and Facebook hasn't been around for 38 years. But I haven't talked to you in forever, but happy birthday. And I don't enjoy that. And for that reason, my birthday hasn't been listed on my Facebook for a long time. And I don't know who's noticed, but yeah, I have like one or two people that'll tell me happy birthday, because I do have a twin brother whose birthday is also on the same day. You know, redundancy, twin brother, birthday same day. So I have a handful of people that will be like, happy birthday, I saw Nick's birthday was today. This doesn't paint me in a nice light, maybe. But I don't like it, because then I feel like I have to respond to it, and I don't have anything to say because I haven't talked to you in years. So I don't enjoy that. And for that reason, I wasn't going to come on here and say happy birthday, or that tomorrow's my birthday, but here we are. I spent the last 3 minutes talking about it, and now y'all know. So if you want to say happy birthday down in the comments, you can, and I maybe will just hit like button on it. So thank you in advance. Number 2, this goes back to the what I was talking about with Colin, the guy who requested me to do a lobster. And I have a couple of messages in my Facebook. I get overwhelmed mentally when people email me. Not really email. send me, like, message me asking me things, because I get so many messages, and it's not a bad thing. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I do appreciate the messages, and I appreciate 90% of the messages that I get. But there's that, like, 10%, and I think I'm underestimating that to sound like a nice person. That I just like, oh my, just leave me alone. And because of those messages, it makes me not want to answer any messages, because I just get overwhelmed with it. And the messages I'm talking about, and I don't want anyone to think, if you sent me a message and I've responded to you, you probably haven't stressed me out. It's the people that are constantly like, I just get them constantly. It's the, what kind of wood do you carve? What kind of t-shirts do you use? The people that are just like info mining me. I get like probably this once a week. Hi, I love your work. You do great stuff. Can you please tell me how I can learn to do everything you can do? And what t-shirts you use, and what ink you use, and what wood do you carve, and what carving tools do you use, and all of this stuff. And it stresses me out, because I have a page on my website, and I just respond with copy paste link to my website, because I don't want to be rude to these people. Here's the deal. Let's see if I even post this video. If I yeah. I am in a mood today. I think this is what it gets at me, because 90% of those people, they email me and they say, you know, what a great business you have. I want to start a business like this where I am. Please tell me everything that you know about what you do. And my answer is like, well, I know I went to school for 4 years to learn how to do this, is what I want to say, but I just send them the link to my materials. And I don't care that, actually I enjoy inspiring people to make work, to carve, just to create stuff, because there is, you know, I find joy in it, and I want other people to find joy in it. I don't mind that, but my advice to most people would be, don't carve wood. Carve linoleum. Don't get these, and this is written in not as many words on my page. Because wood's hard. I mean, I make this look easy, but I'm really pushing pretty hard. My other gloves that I don't have, oh, here they are. My other gloves that I use, they have holes in them where I carve, just because that's how hard I push with my carving tool. So, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. So, Colin, I haven't responded to your message yet, just because sometimes messages stress me out, and not your message, just messages in general, and it just becomes overwhelming at times. But I've responded to you in my brain, but you don't know that, and that's a problem with me, not a problem with you guys. I just become overwhelmed. And I get into moods where I just don't want to talk to anyone. And I've kind of been in that mood for the past week. I just don't want to talk to people. And it's not that you guys, like, people don't annoy me generally. It's just the constant questions and the barrage of, like, what do you use? What kind of wood do you carve? That gets to me the most. And then for outside reasons, I just get to a point where I'm just like, I don't want to talk right now. I don't want to email. Yeah. I didn't think I was going to come on and say all this. I just started talking. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. But to clarify, most of the people that message me, you don't stress me out. And it's the people that want me to do things that I don't generally do that stress me out. Not that I don't want to get out of my comfort zone. Oh, that's going to pop up. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. That's okay. Not that I refuse to get out of... Oh, Belvedere. What is the problem? I'm downstairs carving with B and Marty. You've seen them. There's pictures of them so you can know their faces. B is a dog, Marty is a cat, and B hates delivery trucks. And we just had a delivery truck drive past, and they drive past really fast. We live on a small neighborhood street here in Atlanta, Georgia. Well, Marietta, Georgia. We went over that last week, or last time I did one of these. But Atlanta is just easier for people to know the general area where I'm talking about. He hates delivery trucks. Every time one drives by, it's that response. And then Marty hates delivery trucks because every time one drives past, B will start barking. And then she gets scared and she doesn't know. And she has this like little growl that she does. When the delivery truck comes by or something happens, she goes, she's a grumpy little cat sometimes, and she'll just growl at things. She goes, she won't do anything. She's a very sweet cat, but she does not like delivery trucks. And I think mostly it's because B chases her when delivery trucks come. So I need to get the little lights of the eye carved out here. I'm just going to go pop and pop and have that carved out. That's nice. And a sip of water. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. All right, freckle lobsterback, spotted lobsterback here. Fun fact about me, I've never eaten lobster. How's that for a fun fact? And I don't like seafood. So that's the reason I haven't eaten lobster. And I probably will never eat lobster. I've had shrimp, and shrimp is, I'm not a huge fan of shrimp. Shrimp, I can eat it if it's like the only thing available and there's like a lot of sauce. Fish, I will never eat fish. I have eaten fish just to like taste it, and then I decided I don't like this. So I don't like the texture of it. It's weird. And one time I was eating Wendy's, and this was years and years and years ago. I don't know if Wendy's are like international, but Wendy's is like I don't even know if it's a step up or a step down from McDonald's, but it's a burger place. And I was eating a chicken sandwich from Wendy's once, and I wasn't convinced that it wasn't a fish sandwich. And I don't think I've been to Wendy's since then. I couldn't tell if it was chicken or fish. And I just don't like the texture. It's not good. Not for me, not for me. Everyone else, you guys have at it. All the fish for you. All the fish for you. But I do like under the sea stuff. Like I like going to the aquarium here. We have the Georgia Aquarium, which I worked at for years. I guess I haven't been there in probably about 3 or 4 years now for work. I used to draw caricatures there. Caricatures, which is how I started drawing. Have I told my caricature story? Do people know about my caricature background? I know I mentioned it. I've mentioned it for sure, like on live streams. But how I started drawing people was caricatures back when I was 16 years old, a wee lad. A wee lad. I started working at SeaWorld in Orlando, and I drew caricatures of people, of tourists. And for the first, let's see. For the first year, I was terrible. For the first 3 years, I was below average. And it was not... There were days that were easier than others, but there are also days that I came to work and I was like, I want to quit. This is awful. Because people would, they tell you what they think of your drawing. And some of them, I'm only human. Some of them were good and others of them weren't. And the ones that are good are the people that, want to get drawn. The ones that are bad are the people whose parents want them to get drawn. So you'd be like, can you draw my sleeping baby? No, I don't want to draw your sleeping baby. And then they're like, can you try? And I'm like, it's asleep. And I said, no. And then like, okay, fine. I can't draw a sleeping baby. And then they wake up their baby. And then it's like, okay, it's not sleeping anymore. Draw it now. And I was like, well, now it's crying. And they're like, just draw the baby. And then I draw the baby and they're like, I don't like it. I was like, well, I wonder why. The baby was crying the whole time and I made it up. It's like, it doesn't look like him. Let's see. I was working at SeaWorld once, and this is probably like the craziest, weirdest story question I had. Well, let me tell one story first, and I'll go back to the other one. All right, so focus. Chris, focus. Tell one thing at a time. I remember I was drawing at SeaWorld. We had 4 stands in the park. We had one at the front of the park. And that one, oh man, I can't remember what that one was called. The bus, no, it wasn't the bus stop. Harbor was the one, the back. Penguin was the one, the big one. I can't remember. Oh, it doesn't matter. The one in the front. I was working at the run in the front of the park, and I was working late. And it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. The park was getting ready to close. And this family came up, and they said, hey, draw my kids. And so I was like, fine, I'll draw your kids. And halfway through the drawing, one of the kids, it was like a 4-year-old, 3-year-old little boy. He for lack of a better term, he hawked a loogie on me. He spit in my face. And the parents, instead of being like, oh my goodness, don't do that. That's another human being and you don't spit on other people. The parents thought it was cute. And they're like, oh, how adorable that you just spit in the face of another person. Somebody that's drawing you. He spit on me. So that's probably the weirdest. No, it's not I'm sure I've had weirder experiences than that. But that is a thing that has happened to me. And that doesn't age well in like today's world, does it? And then one of the funniest things that happened to me while I was working at SeaWorld was this one was working. I was working at the harbor, and it was across from the Shamu Stadium, like literally across from it. The path to go up to Shamu Stadium was across from the booth. Like if I closed my eyes and walked straight, I would end up in Shamu Stadium. I had this lady come up, and she was wearing tap shoes to a theme park. And she asked me, she said, how do you get to Shamu Stadium? Which is a question we got all day, because the shows would start and people would get nervous that they were going to miss the show that they wanted to see for today. So they would panic and they would say, where's Shamu Stadium? And then we would be like, you're basically here. Walk up that pathway and you've made it. And they would say, okay, great, thanks. And they would, be on their way. No big deal. This lady, she was like, can you tell me where Shamu Stadium is? So we were like, yeah, it's right there. Just keep walking. You're almost there. Keep going. And then she walked halfway up with her tap shoes. Click, clack, click, clack, click, clack, click, clack. Halfway up the path. And then she turned around and came back. And she said, but how do I get there? And I think our response was like, you were almost there. Just literally up that pathway. That's kind of that might be more of a you had to be there story. That's kind of a boring story said out loud, isn't it? So, But that is. Those are a couple SeaWorld stories. Do you like SeaWorld stories? Oh, the whole conversation that started this is that I used to work at the Georgia Aquarium, and I don't like seafood, but I do like ocean animals. And it was always weird to go to the aquarium with people who like seafood, or hear people talk about seafood, because they'd be looking at we have what's called the Ocean Explorer exhibit at the Georgia Aquarium. And what's in the Ocean Explorer exhibit is there's a bunch of whale sharks, and there are manta rays and sharks and groupers. And there's a lot of big fish. It's the world's largest viewing window. A lot of cool stuff there. It's a really beautiful exhibit. But going there with people who like seafood, they like to point at the groupers and be like, that fish looks delicious. That's always been really strange to me. Because you don't go to the zoo and point at a tiger and be like, I would like that in my mouth. Maybe some people do. I have no desire to eat tiger, and I hope none of you do. Don't eat any tiger. Man, the lighting makes my hand look really, really pale. I need some sunlight. It is really beautiful out here in Atlanta. It's been raining for about a week. Now at the part of the video where I talk about the weather. It's been raining here for about a week. And I think Wednesday here was the first nice day. Maybe it was yesterday. No, I think it was Wednesday. I think Wednesday was really nice here. Wednesday was the first nice day in 2 or 3 weeks here, where it's just, man, it's beautiful. It's sunny. It's 70 degrees outside. It's just really, really nice. Couple moves here. Let's see. Let me tell you some more stories. So at the Georgia Aquarium, one of the coolest exhibits that they have is it's related to lobsters slightly in the fact that they're both crustaceans. It's the Japanese spider crabs. And they are these crabs that can grow to be the size of cars. And that's pretty cool. Although I'm always disappointed when I like go and see them, because I remember when I went as like the year that the Georgia Aquarium opened was about the year that I moved to Atlanta. But I think it opened in 2005. That's the year I was here, but it may have opened in 2006. The year after I moved here. And I remember they were touting how big whale sharks are, and they're huge. I will tell you that. They are very big. And they're like, and they can get to the size of a school bus. And I got really excited from hearing that because I was like, well, you know, here we go. In 10 years, I'm going to come back and these whale sharks are going to be twice as big. And it just really hasn't worked out that way. I mean, they're big, but they don't have to be like the size of a school bus. I thought the same thing about the Japanese spider crabs. When I come back, these things are going to be the size of a car. And then I come back and they're like, I don't know if they get new ones or like, I don't know how long a crab lives, especially a crab in an aquarium. But they're never the size of a car. Like, they're big crabs. I just don't think you need to say that they can get as big as a car. Like they say a Volkswagen Beetle. Because they're cool animals. You don't have to, like, hyperbolize it. They can get as big as a car. Well, this lobster that I'm carving is just your normal run-of-the-mill lobster. He can get as big as your dinner plate. As big as your dinner plate. Dun 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 bum ba-da-dum bum ba-da-dum ba-da-da-da-da-dum bum ba-dum. I don't know why I'm singing oh man, I thought I was singing Star Wars. But I could have been singing an Indiana Jones theme. And in my head right now, I can't tell the difference. That's a John Williams thing. Because I'm thinking it may have been Indiana Jones. Kapoom, kapoom, kapoom. Kapoom. Here's something I was wondering about. Why is it that some crab claws are, crabs have like one big claw and one little claw? Why is that? Do you know? If I had to guess, I would say, because I think like crabs are always like losing their claws, right? And they regenerate. Is the big claw just a claw that they haven't lost in a while? And the little one is a claw that they lost recently? That's probably not it. I'll look it up and put it in post, and I'll tell you what it is. Put it in post. Look at me. Put it in post. I'm using like words for like editing, but I'm not using them in the right order. Put it in post. I'll put the answer And I'll have my future self tell you the answer right here.
From what I can find, it seems that the claws of some crabs are larger than other claws because the ladies like a big claw. It's to attract a mate, it seems what I can find. I haven't seen anything while scrolling around that says that they are bigger for other reasons than that. It's because the ladies like the big claw. The ladies like a big claw. That is why one claw is bigger than others on crabs.
All right, so now it's time to carve all of the scenery around the lobster. Ooh, could you hear that? That was my belly. I just got done eating lunch before I started carving this. And maybe I didn't like what I was doing. But I'm going to carve all the background stuff now, which is going to be fun, fun, fun till my daddy takes the T-bird away. How's that for a Beach Boys reference? By that, you know, I said I wasn't 38, but you might think I was 65. And the Beach Boys, 60s? Yeah. My mom likes the Beach Boys, but she's not that old, so she's not 60s. So maybe that's not fair to say that. She liked the oldie station. I remember driving in the car, listening to the oldie station, and never being one of the cool kids that knew like songs that were made within the last 5 years of school. I knew Love Potion number 9, all the words, but I couldn't tell you what 98 Degrees was doing. Was that one of the cool bands that I should have been listening to? 98 Degrees? Probably not. I was probably better off. Dun dun dun. All right. So I want to be careful and not take too much wood away in these areas. Because as it gets closer to the top of the claw, I want to define the outline of that claw. But as it gets close to the bottom of the claw, I want to define it in some areas, but also leave it dark. So you can see that it is in shadow. You know, it's interesting. I've been, what do you call it? I don't want to use that word because it's going to make, I'm going to use that word though. I'm going to say I've been dreading or not enthusiastic about making this video because I'm like, you know, I'll have to sit there and carve with no sound because I can't listen to the things I would typically listen to when I'm carving because it's copyrighted material. So I have to sit here with no sound and talk to myself for about an hour or so to finish this piece up. And that's not something I was looking forward to because I just wanted to sit and relax and shut the world out. That's all I wanted to do all week long, to be honest with you. But it is actually quite nice to sit and just relax and carve and not have my head force-filled with the entertainment that I was watching. And what I've been watching, so at night, the Braves, I like the Braves. the Atlanta baseball team. At night, they've been on a road trip. So at night when I carve, I've been able to sit down and listen to the Braves play, which I love listening to baseball games when I work. It's actually quite relaxing. They lost last night, so that's not as happy, but they won the past 5 nights before that, so that's good. The other thing I've been watching is I've pretty much gone through all the TV shows that I want to watch, and even some TV shows I didn't want to watch on like Netflix and Disney Plus, and I watch a lot of movies. I watch Moana about once a week. But this week I clicked on The Simpsons just because there are, I don't even know, like 30 seasons of The Simpsons on Disney Plus. And so it's just easy to sit there, and they're quick 20-minute deals. I'm not going to get sucked into watching a show that I don't really want to watch, but I'll get interested in it just because I'm watching it. So I clicked on The Simpsons, which I don't know, maybe I'll continue watching it, maybe I'll stop. But sometimes it is nice just to not have any outside interactions or outside voices in your head and just sit in quiet and think a little bit. And I said I watch Moana about once a week. Moana is probably my favorite Disney movie. There's a couple really good ones. Moana's really good. I like Coco. And I really, really like The Good Dinosaur. The Good Dinosaur doesn't get a whole lot of attention, but I wish, if you haven't seen The Good Dinosaur, it's a Pixar movie. You know, little studio no one's heard of, Pixar. But I don't know that a lot of people have seen The Good Dinosaur. It's like a dinosaur western coming of age movie. And it's enjoyable. So if you like Pixar and you like dinosaurs and you like good dinosaurs and you like westerns, I suggest you watch The Good Dinosaur. But I could talk about Moana fan theories. I got a couple of them. It drives Paige crazy when I talk about them. So I can't imagine that it'll be good listening for you guys if I talk about my crazy theories about Moana. I go between loving and hating Moana quite frequently and just yelling about it. Because I don't think Maui's a good character. I don't like Maui. I think he's a jerk. And Moana's always nice to him. And then, Maui. Yeah, not a fan of Maui. But I don't know that you're supposed to be a fan of Maui. I don't know. He doesn't get a redemption story. Yeah, but he also never apologizes for any of the terrible things that he does. He just gets to go on being Maui without ever having to be like, I did all these bad things and sorry guys that I'm mean to everyone I see until I can get something out of it for myself. So I know he used his hook at the end, spoiler alert, for a 5-year-old movie, to do good and to help Moana. But the only reason Moana was there to help is because he took the heart of defeating. So that's number one. Number one, I'm not a huge fan of Maui. Oh, where's my X-Acto blade? I'll do without it. I'll do a little line up to this point. and just go slow. The second thing is I believe that the heart of because the heart of Tahiti is powerful. Everyone wants it, right? Everyone wants the heart of Tahiti. I believe that the heart of Tahiti keeps Moana alive the whole movie because she should have died like 8 times when she fell into the realm of the monsters. She should have died. And here's more evidence. Her grandma, she died as soon as she gave the heart of Tahiti over to Moana. And I think that heart of Tahiti was keeping grandma alive. And as soon as she gave it up, she passed. Coincidence? I don't think so. I think there's something to it. I think the heart of Tahiti is supposed to give you the power to create life itself. But nobody ever uses this power. I think it's been keeping the people alive that have had it in their possession. What say you? People who have watched this far and who have watched Moana, which I bet that's almost no one at this point, because this is going to be a long video. And I started this video off complaining about a lot of things. I don't know if people like to hear complaining, but it's just been how I was feeling. I've been feeling quiet, like I've wanted to just be left alone for a minute. So, and I don't want to go back down that hole. So I'm going to keep moving forward with my thoughts and my conversation. I meant to say at the beginning of this that this is going to be a long video, and watch as much as you want, and hopefully you enjoy it, because carving, you know, it makes me happy and I enjoy doing it. So I imagine, my hope is that it makes other people happy and they enjoy watching me carve for extended periods of time. And it's something, you know, going back to my background in caricatures, it's something I'm quite good at, is talking and working at the same time. It's a skill that I had to develop for when I was doing caricatures for 2 reasons. Well, you know, you're drawing a live person when you're drawing caricatures. So you kind of have to learn, your hand and your mind have to kind of work together. Because you can't just sit there and stare at a person and be like, I'm drawing you. Don't talk to me. Don't break my concentration because I'm drawing your face. It makes for an awkward encounter. You kind of have to learn how to talk to someone while you're working. And so because of that, I'm able to talk and work at the same time. I can sit here and carve and talk endlessly, and it kind of happens second nature, because when I carve, I don't even think about the marks that I'm making a whole lot. They just kind of come out of me. And the best carvings happen that way. Sometimes if you think about things too much, it becomes difficult. Honestly, the best carvings come from the best drawings. Let's first start with that. It's hard to do a really great carving when you have a really terrible drawing. So that's the first step in any good carving, is to have a good drawing, a good plan. And this drawing I considered was a good drawing. It was a fun drawing. Had nice and simple lines. It had areas where lots of different techniques could be used. Different types of mark making, different shadowy areas. Right now I'm working on like a rock formation texture, which is very different than the organic texture, the smooth surface of the lobster itself. So I'm working on that. Has areas where I can create shadows underneath the claw. It's got these little, like the seagrass back there. So that's fun. Man, something else that happened this week too. My tools have not been cooperating with me, and it may have been the wood that I was using, because this wood is carving beautifully, and all the pieces, the commission pieces that I've been working with this week, they carve fine. So I don't want anyone to think that, because whoever has a commission coming from me, you know who you are, and if you're watching this, you'll be like, oh no, it was bad wood. It wasn't bad wood. It was wood that made me work for it. When I say it's bad wood, I'm like, it just doesn't come easy. But I always get there. This wood, the mark making comes very easily. And sometimes when I get frustrated with a piece, like I'll go and I'll sharpen my tools, or I'll try to make my tools sharper. And it's almost never my tools. It's almost always the wood itself. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do, since I don't have, oh no, there's my blade. Sweet. I have my X-Acto blade. Oh, I gotta carve out these little dots on his claw here. Look at this. Bloop, 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 and bloop, and bloop, and bloop. Look at that. All right. So the last thing I want to do is carve that all out. So to do that, I'm going to trace all the marks that I want to make with an X-Acto knife, because I want to have watermarks going in the background. Excuse me. So take off my glove. I'm just going to take the X-Acto knife. I used it to glue something earlier. It's got a little bit of glue on the tip. Come on. Get off of there. I'm just going to trace out on the outline here a little bit. All right, so that's all drawn, or that's all lined, and I've traced out all the outlines. And so now when I do a mark, I can go up to it and it'll just pop it out. And I can do that for the whole piece very easily now. I don't have to worry about anything. And I want to carve most of this background area out. I just want to leave like little lines in there to hint at like water and stuff. So that is how I'm going to finish out this piece, just by kind of doing like that and carving out to the spots and popping it out. Poppy, poppy, poppy. So I need one last topic to talk about as I work on this. Let me think. Let me think. The problem is I haven't really done a whole lot in the past year or so for reasons. Let me go back to what I was saying before about materials, because I don't want, now that I'm feeling a little bit better in the video, I made a comment where I said, what kind of wood do you carve? And my response, what I want to say to people is that you shouldn't carve wood. You should carve linoleum. And the reason for that is because wood is hard. People make comments on my posts constantly, and they'll say things like, "Oh man, that wood looks like it carves like butter. What kind of wood do you use?" Well, you guys know that the videos that I post largely are sped up, and so that's one reason it looks like it carves like butter. Two, it's because I've been doing it for a long time, carving wood, and I carved MDF for the longest time, and I don't think I would be as good as carving wood if I didn't spend the 10 years carving MDF that I did, because it really gave me time to develop my technique. And wood is harder than MDF, and there's this weird thing that goes on in my brain where every time I pick up a piece of wood, I hope that I can still do it, because it is just difficult to do, to carve it. So I say you shouldn't carve wood, you should carve linoleum. For the people who just want to give it a shot, that haven't carved anything in years, my advice would be, stick to linoleum. Is, first of all, you can go to any art store and grab a sheet of linoleum. It's going to be more expensive per square foot than a piece of wood is. But if you're just buying one sheet of linoleum, it's $2. So it's not expensive. But it is more expensive if I bought 5 feet of linoleum. 5 feet of linoleum is more expensive than 5 feet of wood. So let me clarify that thought. Second, linoleum is just easy to carve. You don't have to worry about the grain. It goes any direction you want it to. It's easy to print. But the reason I choose wood is because for my carved and painted pieces, I want it to be a good quality piece. Wood is a good quality working material. And I'm not going to do a carved and painted piece of linoleum. I would never, ever, ever do that. But linoleum's great for printing and working on just first time carving people, because it's super easy to carve. You don't have to worry about anything. And the tools to carve it are $12. Once again, I've got a link to all this stuff on my website if you're interested. I'll probably put it in my YouTube videos too. I think I put a link that says, "What do you use?" And then it links to that page on my website. So if you're curious, you can go check that out. Wood just takes a lot. It takes, you have to have things to cut wood. You have to have a vehicle to transport the wood. You have to have tools to carve the wood. You just have to have a lot more. Linoleum, for under $20, you can get in, carve a piece of linoleum, and satisfy that need. You can't do that with wood. You can't do that with wood. I'm just going back on the back sides now and carving up to those marks on the back side. I have a couple t-shirts to print. What's it, almost 3 o'clock? This video is going to be almost over an hour long probably, huh? I got a couple t-shirts to print. I got a print on paper to pull of a guinea pig. And then next week I have a brand new t-shirt block that I'll be carving, but I don't think I can carve. I can't show you guys until mid-October on that one. Sorry. So it's at its heart, it's a commission piece, but it's going to be a little bit more than that. So. I have 0 plans this weekend. Not doing anything that I know of. Maybe people in my circle have plans for me that I don't know about yet. But I don't know what I'm doing. It's fall here. It's lovely in Georgia. I imagine we'll end up somewhere doing something. Most likely an outdoorsy thing. But there's nothing that I particularly want to do. Look at this piece, huh? It's really coming together. I actually really enjoy this piece. It's got a lot of cool areas to it. And he's just so happy. All right, so that's, I gotta do it under here now. Once I paint him in, he's gonna be so happy too. Isn't it so satisfying? Hopefully you can see it when I pop up to the lines that I've drawn with the X-Acto blade, that they just kind of pop away. Isn't that satisfying? It just leaves these like nice, crisp lines. Isn't that fun? Happy carving. Isn't that fun? Should I talk like Bob Ross now? It's just a happy little lobster in a happy little rock cavern, little formation over here. Carving away up until his little antennas. What are these? What are those? What do they do? They probably, I know they probably like, they're like whiskers on cats, right? They probably detect stuff. Probably detect stuff. Puppy, 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 puppy. And woohoo, look at that go. Almost done. The home stretch of a carving is always, I always want it to be done like 10 minutes ago. But also, like, I don't want to rush it because I've worked for the past, I don't know, however long I've been doing this, over an hour probably now. And I don't want to mess it up in the last 3 minutes, right? Ah! Just like that. I'll have to glue that one back into place. Oh man, it's gonna do it again. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. There we go. There we go. Let's see. Be gentle. This is the hardest part of the whole carving right here. Getting these edges up and maintaining that line. Here we go. Done. All right, that's the easy part. Oh no, okay. So I'm gonna take this piece and I'm gonna move it over here so I can glue that on later so I don't lose it. Because that came out of right that little antenna spot that's white right now. So that's okay. We'll glue that on. It'll be all good. And 2 more marks. 1, 2. Oh, it's gonna be 3, isn't it? A 3. But this mark's like under the frame, so it doesn't really even matter. 3. And now we have a finished carving. And there we go.
let's take a look at it in the frame. Take my gloves off. One glove off, boom. Two gloves off, boom. And go wide out. And there it is. That's finished. Finished lobster carving. You can see right there was the last little mess up, and I'm just going to glue that back into place and it'll be fine. But this carving is finished. What do you think? So, and after some delicate work, I glued that back into place. You can't even tell it was gone, but it was this piece in that little area right there. That one right there. So, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed watching me carve out this lobster, and I'll see y'all later. All right, thanks. Bye.